and this law was passed, was it mid of 2025? Or late 2025? Around mid or later in 2025. One of the things we ought to do is to give it some time and do a legislative impact assessment. But anyway, I think in your view, even if we give it time, perhaps nothing will change.
Mr. Chairman, people with disabilities are encouraged to apply. But how do you enforce that encouragement? Other than putting the paper, that from where I sit, I think if you make a provision of 5%, that provision must be reserved for people with disabilities, and you must fill it. If they don't apply, you look for them and ensure that they...
Let me just ask you a question.
Yes.
When you put out an advert as the county government of Trans Nzoia, do you make it accessible to PWDs? Like, for instance, a blind person, how do you make sure they can see that ad? Because we have to think about these things in terms of access, and I wish Crystal was here today, because many of us who are able-bodied do not actually see the challenges of these people.
For he doesn't have it. They want to apply, but they won't.
The point of order, allow me, you are getting into trouble. You want to tell us PWD, I know PWDs who are well-read and well-qualified.
Governor and
it will be members to provide PWD that they are not qualified. I can bring him a
we cannot have a conversation about they, because then that implies them versus us.
Yes.
So,
there's a point I think we can carry. What the governor is saying is we consider amending the law to reduce the minimum qualifications for PWDs, which I think makes a lot of sense. If you want to recruit somebody with a minimum D+, for PWD, it should be D, because I think we're getting data which will help us, showing that most of our PWDs don't attain the minimum requirements, so they are knocked off at maybe shortlisting. Just a minute.
Yeah, let's
just a minute. You know, we're having a conversation this side and that side, and some of the information that comes here can get input into our report, and we recommend that we amend the law further so that we create lesser stringent qualifications for PWDs. And from where I'm sitting, makes a lot of sense.
I think then that comes back to us, because we are the ones who passed this law last year. But this committee, of course, we can make recommendations, but as at now, we are dealing with the law as it is. Senator Ombua, then we close this and move.
Thank you, Chair. One, I think it should never go on record that this committee sat and entertained a conversation that seems to be profiling PWDs. I mean, that should never happen. Chair, the thing to consider is exactly what Senior Counsel is saying. And the ball is here. It's in our court. Because you see, Chair, without appearing to speak for the governor, the governor is telling you his reality. That is his reality on the ground. That is the challenge that he is facing on the ground. For us, we are guided by the law, which may not apply as it should in every county in this country. So, Chair, as I said in the morning, these conversations also give us opportunities to think through legislations that we have passed. So if the reality in Trans Nzoia is that this category of people are not applying because perhaps the threshold is beyond what they have, what can we do? Is that replicated in other counties? And if that is the case, what can be done to address the situation? I think.
But just for my own curiosity, who set the law that somebody must have a D+ for you to be a driver, for example? You know, I've always wondered, we have VTCs training people, mechanics, drivers, but when it comes to our adverts, we say you must have a D+ from 4, I don't know D+. Where is that law, legal counsel? may think there's no law like that. You can just decide people who are supposed to be working in the environment, sweepers, come with a Form 4 certificate or with a Class 8 certificate, and they're employed. We'll be able to get PWDs from that.
Chair, with your indulgence, a quick observation. I want to reject the notion that PWDs are not qualified. That's pedestrian, Chair. Because every job has a description. Even when we're hiring the IEBC commissioners, any independent officers, you will always find PWD people who are qualified for those positions. Chair, I remember when we were processing the County Attorney Act, when I was chair then, I used to be powerful, Sifuna, before you came. When I was the chair then, one of the requirements was that we need a county attorney who is 7 years experience as a practicing advocate. Many people rejected, especially from certain parts of this country, saying you cannot get a lawyer who can come and work, for example, in a region like Mandera or somewhere in Busia. But when the law passed, there were so many advocates who applied for those positions. So it is similar argument, Chair, that we should not reduce this conversation to the qualifications of PWDs. These are affirmative decisions that the governor must give us practical solutions to this issue. Because if we just leave this room and the governor says, you know, the PWDs are not mostly qualified, I can tell you for free from my interactions as a leader in this country, there are so many PWDs people who are qualified. And by the way, they are talented in some ways that some of you might not believe. So that might not believe, Chair. So, Chair, let me rest it there. But I just wondered, because governor has captured it very well by saying this is an affirmative position. That's why I asked a simple question. Out of these 69 employees, 51 of them are PWDs. I asked him a simple question. How many, since he came to office, including maybe even partner staff? You can say one of my partisan staff is a PWD, for example. So my question, Chair, if the governor can just answer, I know there have been a staff attrition, a few hiring. How many since he came to office that he has hired, including even his own partisan staff?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I can answer that question